One of the phones on the governor's bedside table started to ring. He stirred, startled by the shrill noise, and then groaned. It was the ringtone reserved for that pencil-headed fucker Miller in D.C. Time zones were just one of the niceties of civilization that asshole chose to ignore. The governor rolled over and grabbed the phone. "Secretary Miller, good morning. What can I do for you?" He held the phone away from his ear, catching just the tone. He knew what the content would be. He had heard it all before. "Yes, Mr. Secretary, I hear you. I know that the delays on the resettlement camps have been unacceptable. My sheriffs are doing everything they can to move the protesters." "No, Mr. Secretary, we don't need you to send ICE personnel to help. The training officers have done a great job. They're toughening my guys up, beating the woke Canadian out of them, you know." "Yes, Mr. Secretary. I'm looking forward to seeing you at the President's Day celebrations as well." "Well, no. I don't think the missus will be with me this time, sir." The governor wondered if Miller was just fucking with him. Had he not heard that Sue had fled across the border to BC after their last visit to the capital? The memory of their flight back to Edmonton haunted him. His wife sobbing and hissing at him the whole way about those fascists. He didn't know if it was the mean girl comments about Ozempic and Botox from the other wives, or the pictures of prisoners in the detention centers that were displayed at the private parties for the governors, but they pushed Sue over the edge. She had stood by him through the referendums in 2026 and 2027. He could see the worry on her face when he started getting calls from the White House after the 2027 vote, offering assistance to correct the stolen referendum. But after the security action in 2028, she had accepted that it was her job to be First Lady of Alberta and Saskatchewan, the newest unincorporated territory of the United States. She hadn't liked life in the governor's mansion. The Americans had demanded that they move into the old government house, even though it hadn't been a residence for almost 100 years. Sue stuck with him through the renovations and seemed to be adapting to life behind the security walls that protected them from terrorists and protesters with their maple leaf flags and nasty signs. The governor didn't know how his wife had managed to evade her security detail on that secret trip to Victoria to visit her dying mother, but she somehow made it to a police station and claimed asylum. It had been all over the news. Surely Miller knew. He was just rubbing it in that the governor couldn't control his woman. The governor hung up and looked at the time on his phone screen. 5:25. Too late to get any more sleep. He might as well face the day. He looked ruefully at the empty space on the other side of the bed. He missed her. The governor stared across his desk at the Secretary of the Treasury. "Tell me you have good news, man." The secretary flinched. "Well, Governor, with the devaluation of the Canadian dollar last week, our share of the Canadian national debt just got smaller in US dollars. That's good news? And potash exports were up again last quarter." The uptick in the secretary's voice made the governor brace for whatever was coming next. "And oil royalties?" "Well, Governor, as you know, half the royalties go to D.C. It's a shame we didn't get the Alaska deal of 90-10, but the White House said we owed them for being liberated. Since they negotiated the treaty with the Canadians to reopen the pipelines, we've been able to start exports from the West Coast again, but demand from Asia is way down." The governor turned to the Secretary of State. "Any update on the carbon sanctions?" Shaking his head, the secretary stared down at the desk. "No, sir. The latest from D.C. isn't promising. After the heat waves last summer, the Europeans aren't backing down. Sanctions on every country with high per capita GHG emissions. And they aren't buying the argument that our emissions should be calculated as part of the U.S. So we're in the top tier. Travel bans, asset seizures, the whole 9 yards. The governor sighed. This wasn't what he expected when he started organizing for Alberta independence. He knew the Americans would have to be involved. He wasn't a fool. But he had never imagined he'd be their puppet, at their beck and call, as they siphoned off Alberta's wealth and used the territory as a dumping ground for immigrants and dissidents they wanted to get rid of. Hell, some days he wondered if they'd be better off as part of Canada.